Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. You may not even recognise me right now because I'm wearing makeup and I've got earrings in and I've done my hair, well, kind of, and I've got normal clothes on. I've actually got jeans on today. I'm wearing jeans probably for the first time in about 4 weeks, so I thought I'd make an effort. As this video is going to be a sit down video, this is going to be a real informative video. As you've probably already been able to tell by the title, today I'm going to be giving you my top tips on how to achieve abs. Just as a side note, I don't currently have visible abs. If you guys have been following my latest vlogs, you'll know that I am in the process to hopefully achieving some nice visible abs, but not quite there yet. However, I have had abs in the past. I've had some pretty good abs in the past actually. I'll insert some pictures here just as proof, and therefore I thought that I am in a great position to be able to pass on my top tips in order to achieve visible abs. Just as a bit of a side note slash disclaimer slash I'm going to be completely honest with you, we're all different, we all have different builds, we all hold fat in different areas. It's going to be a lot more achievable for some people to have visible abs than other people. That is just the hard truth over it. We carry fat in different places, we carry fat differently, and some people unfortunately hold more fat on their stomach area, especially females in general. So lads, well done to you guys. You're going to be able to achieve visible abs a lot easier than females are. However, saying that, females, do not worry, we can still work towards achieving nice defined abs. You may not necessarily ever have that six-pack look, but you can definitely take the correct steps in order to make your abs that little bit more visible. I also just want to put it out there that you cannot spot reduce body fat. This means you cannot pick and choose where you decide that you want to lose the body fat from. We cannot just expect to do hundreds and hundreds of sit-ups and crunches and miraculously all of the body fat will disappear off our bellies. It just doesn't work like that. We focus on an overall fat loss throughout. Okay, so going in with my first tip, it would be the obvious but not most important one, and that is to exercise our abs. Our abs are a muscle group, so it is important that we exercise, train and develop the muscle there. So that just means working on our core, incorporating ab/core exercises into our routine. This doesn't mean we need to hammer abs every single day. In fact, I would recommend not to do that, but it is also important that you do train your abs here and there. Not only is it important to strengthen your ab muscles for a physique point of view, but also it's really important to have a strong core, because this is just going to help you in the gym with your heavy lifts, your compounds, your deadlifts, your bench press, your squats, but also it's going to help you in day-to-day life as well, carrying your shopping, sitting up out of a seat, all of those day-to-day activities that require having core strength too. So yeah, number one tip is to definitely train your abs, incorporate ab movements into your workouts, but obviously not going overboard, and knowing that it doesn't matter how much ab work you do, if your body fat percentage is too high, you will not get those visible abs. And this brings me nicely into point 2, and that is, if you are not in a calorie deficit, then you will not be able to lower your body fat low enough to see your abs. So there are different ways that you can achieve this deficit. That might be through lowering your calories slightly, it might be by increasing your activity levels, or it might be a combination of both as well. The most important thing is that we are burning more calories than we are putting into our body. So you might be somebody that loves their food, knows full well that you wouldn't be able to lower your calorie intake, so you might want to incorporate a little more cardio into your routine. So when I say cardio, I don't just mean walking on a treadmill, slogging away for hours and hours. In fact, I would probably recommend not to do this unless you're somebody that particularly enjoys going out on long runs, long walks, long bike rides. If you're not a fan of that, then there are so many other things that you can do to burn up some calories and these could be HIIT workouts, Zumba classes, spin classes, circuit classes, anything just to get the heart rate elevated. Okay, so tip number 3 would be to eat enough protein. So many of my clients come to me and they are eating next to no protein at all. Eating protein is such an important element in order to achieve visible abs. Not only is it great for muscle growth, as I'm sure most of us know, but also it is a great appetite suppressant as well, meaning that if you're eating lots of foods rich with protein, you're going to feel fuller for longer, more satisfied for longer, and therefore you're going to eat less food, dropping your calorie intake and therefore dropping your body fat. Protein is also very important when you're in a cutting phase, so when your calories are lowered. This is to help preserve the muscle mass that you do have. So it can be really tempting to cut the calories, cut the protein intake and eat minimal, but if we're looking to preserve the muscle mass that we already have, then it's really, really important to keep your protein intake even higher than you normally would do. Some great protein sources are obviously meat, dairy. Eggs are absolutely brilliant. I love eggs. We all know I love eggs. If you're struggling to get in meat and dairy sources, then I would recommend protein shakes. Great brands are brands such as MyProtein, CMP, are really good as well. They also have some great vegan options too. Obviously, if you are vegan, you can go with corn products. Nuts are brilliant. There's so much out there. If you're struggling a little bit for some protein ideas, then all you need to do is just go into Google, type in great protein sources, and there are loads of websites with lists and lists and lists. Okay, tip number 4 would be to stay hydrated, and I'm going to say this is probably one of my most important tips. Staying hydrated is so important. Guys, if you're not drinking enough water, there is probably a fat chance that you are going to get visible abs. I preach this so much to my clients. I'm constantly on their backs about water intake, staying hydrated, drinking enough fluid. Not only is water intake amazing at suppressing your appetite, sometimes you may confuse feeling thirsty for hunger, and having a drink can completely take away that craving for food. Therefore you eat less calories, but also staying hydrated helps flush out all of the toxins in our body. I always say to my clients, the more you pee, the better. Think of every time you go to the toilet from drinking water as flushing out all of the shit in your body. It's a great way to remind yourself that drinking water is so beneficial. Water requirements do vary from person to person, depending on activity levels, age, and things like that, but I would say, kind of just as a general recommendation, 2 litres a day, absolutely minimum. If you're someone that currently drinks no water through the day, then you can start off by setting yourself little targets. So say for example, you aim to drink 1 litre of water a day. Week 2, you bump it up to 1.5 litres, and before you know it, you're drinking 2 to 3 litres a day. When you're exercising, again, it's even more important to get the water down you. The more you exercise, the more you sweat, the more water that you need to drink, because you need to be replacing the fluids in your body. There are loads of tips that I could give you to increase your water intake. I could sit here and list them off. It's probably one of my favorite topics to talk about with my clients, but some top tips I would say in order to increase your water intake would be to drink from a bottle with a straw. Sounds like such a simple thing, but it can honestly be the difference between being dehydrated and being hydrated. Get yourself a big bottle with a straw. I'll show you mine actually. Okay, not a brilliant example because mine's actually empty, needs refilling, but these bottles are perfect. They have a straw, they have a little sucky bit on them. I don't know what it is about the humans, but we don't like unscrewing screw cap bottles. So get yourself a big litre bottle like this. I know that all I need to do is fill this up 3 times a day, and that is my 3 litres of water in. You can probably also see that I have squash in my water. This is another great tip. Lots of people don't like the taste of water. Not that it has a taste, but I know exactly what you guys mean. Water can be bland, it's not exciting. Add a little bit of 0-calorie squash to your water if you really have to. Maybe you want to drink sparkling water instead, or even add a little bit of fruit. Be creative, make it exciting to drink water. My third tip to drinking lots of water would be to set yourself little targets through the day. So one thing that works really well for me is I try and aim to drink a bottle of water through one client session. Maybe you work in an office and you get a morning break and a lunchtime break. Maybe you could aim to drink at least 1 litre of water before your first break, and then in between first break and lunch break you could aim to drink another, and so on and so on. Set yourself little targets. Okay, tip number 5 would be to stop eating processed foods. Obviously a very obvious one, but also very, very important. If you are slogging away in the gym, training your butt off, and then going home and eating processed foods, then you're definitely never going to see your abs unless you are genetically gifted. Processed foods are typically lower in fiber, proteins, vitamins and minerals, and should be basically avoided at all costs. Opt for whole foods. Whole foods are digested a lot slower by our bodies because they do include the fibers and the proteins and the vitamins and minerals that take longer to process, and therefore more calories are burnt digesting the food, and it also means our metabolism stay nice and snappy. As I said, nutrients in whole foods such as protein are going to be great to suppress appetite, curb cravings, and therefore we're going to eat less. So just as a rule of thumb, is that the phrase? Rule of thumb? Stick to whole foods and you just can't go wrong. Okay, my next tip, and this goes out to all of my students, clients and student viewers, alcohol intake. Alcohol intake is one of those secret contributors to why you might not be seeing great results. We all know that alcohol holds so many calories in them, and even if you stick to your calorie intake and your meal plan through the day and you go home, have a glass of wine, this could take you 200, 300 calories over your calorie intake and put you straight back into a calorie surplus without even knowing. And just think how many drinks you have on a night out. I know one of my clients, and I tell this story to everyone, she went on a night out and actually tracked the calories that she was drinking from the drinks alone on the night out. It equated to 3,000 calories, and that was because she was drinking cocktail after cocktail. I'm not saying ban yourself totally from drinking alcohol, I'm just saying you need to be wary. Alcohol holds a lot of calories, not to mention the calories you consume with the foods after you've drank all of the alcohol. Okay, next up, I've actually forgotten what number tip I'm on. Stress. Now this is a very, very important one that doesn't get addressed enough. I deal with so many women day to day that are stressed to the max, stressed about their work, stressed about family life, stressed about bills, and I know that stress cannot be avoided, but it can actually be such a large part of why you're not seeing results. If your body is stressed, nothing works properly. We want to de-stress our lives, incorporate things like meditation, walking, obviously exercising is a great one, having self-care evenings, and also the stress that can be eliminate it. It is just not worth it. You'll also find that this could be a huge barrier to why you aren't seeing results. It is such a passionate topic of mine. I will 100% be doing a video purely on why stress can affect our fitness goals. And the last point that I'm going to put out there is, if you hit a plateau, change it up. I don't want to hear about it if you have been following the same program or the same routine for months and months and months. I once met a guy at the first gym I worked at, bless his heart, he was a member, and he had been following the same program for 8 years. 8 years, and he was wondering why he hadn't been seeing any progress. Change it up, change it up. If you've been doing HIIT for a while and that's not working, throw in some weight training. If you've been eating the same calories for a while, maybe you need to knock your calories down a little bit. Maybe you need to increase your carb intake. Maybe you need to lower your carb intake. Maybe you need to increase your protein intake. Keep changing it up, keep playing around with it. We need to keep the body guessing. Okay, change it up. And also, there's nothing worse than following a program that you're bored of, you've used over and over and over again. There are so many styles of training out there. use them. Make it interesting for yourself. If you don't like running on a treadmill for half an hour a day, don't do that. Do HIIT, do Zumba. Zumba's a great workout. Go ride your bike in the sun. It doesn't matter. As long as you're burning calories, eating well, maintaining your stress levels, and just generally keeping your hydration and looking after your body, you will see results. If you want abs like an athlete, then you need to take a look at how athletes live their lifestyles. It's not just as simple as going to the gym and doing 50 sit-ups a day. There's more elements to it than that, but at the same time, it's not a complicated process. I generally believe that everybody can achieve visible abs and they can achieve the fitness goals that they want to achieve, but it takes the right steps and it takes consistency, and it's the overall picture as well. So there are my tips. I hope you enjoyed this video. I absolutely loved word splurging you. I love the blogs, but also I love sitting down and just putting my knowledge out there. If you want more videos like this, give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe as well because it helps grow the channel. I cannot wait to see you in the next one, and I love you guys so much.